as Dlba, we are a business association accredited by the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. We work under the guidelines of the national government, specifically MSEA. And we are homegrown, started here in Kikuyu, and we saw a need to localize impact and bring together MSMEs that have a lot of impact in local communities. So as an association, we do not work alone, and we are here courtesy of very many individuals, businesses, and partners who have been with us since we began in our first expo in 2019, November. And I would like, some of our partners are going to introduce themselves and talk a bit about what they do.
My name is Anthony Washira from Dimke Sacco. Dimke Sacco is a deposit-taking Sacco anchored by Christian values. Dimke Sacco presence is in 3 counties, that is Nairobi, Kajiado, then in Kiambu, where we have our very own Kikuyu branch that is situated here in Mugoko building, 2nd floor, next to Aga Khan Hospital. What are we doing as Dimke Sacco? So far, this year's achievement, we have hit a 1 billion deposit, which has been necessitated by you members and the partners in this room. The reason why we are here today is because we want to partner with you to finance your businesses, because we have custom-made products ready for you. We are saying Dimkes is a one-stop shop for you guys. So don't leave this opportunity. Let's work together. Asanteni sana.
One of our other partners has been Safari Inco, a local manufacturer based here in Kikuyu. And I would like Edwin to come tell us more about Safari Inco.
My name is Washira Edwin, and I'm excited to be in your midst this morning. I'm a director from that company which has been mentioned by Nyawera, called Safari Inco Limited. And Safari Inco is based here in Kikuyu, and we're in manufacturing. And our core product is skimming filler or gypsum filler. And most of us who are in construction, I'm sure you have heard of gypsum filler, which is used more when it comes to painting. So this morning I would like to present that we have several products. We have skimming filler, we have wall master paint, and we have a technical team that if you have a project on the ground, we send our team to your site or to your house, and they are able to advise you the best colors that you can put, the right shades that you can put on your house, and therefore you're able to get the best result for your project. And therefore I would like to request all of you, please come and visit our showroom. We are located next to Ivory Towers, and more precisely, we are neighboring Mavela Salon.
To echo what Edwin has said, you can come visit our shop, but if you are not able to come visit our shop, you can follow us on our social media platforms. On Instagram, we are on Instagram at Safari Wall Filler on Instagram, and on Facebook as Safari Inco Limited. You can also email us at info@safariinco.com. Thank you. My name is Felix.
Today we're all talking about mental health at the workplace, and obviously health facilities are important. And we have a new health facility in Kikuyu town, Life Care Hospitals, that just set up. And they're a level 4 hospital. And I will not add on to that. I will invite Agnes or Silas to make a presentation and talk to us more about Life Care Hospitals, what facilities they will be offering.
My name is Agnes Mukumbu. I work in Life Care Hospital as a business development manager. So I'll usher in our director of operations, Cyrus, to talk more about the hospital.
My name is Silas Mwangi. I'm the director of Life Care Hospitals. We are saying Life Care Hospitals because we are a chain of hospitals. Kikuyu Hospital is just a branch. We have our mother branch in Bungoma. It is a level 5 hospital. It is 150 beds. We have another hospital in Migori County. It is a level 4 hospital. It is 100 beds. And the third is this current one that is in Kikuyu. And we have many more coming up. We are level 5 hospital as per the board inspection, latest information yesterday. And We have unique products. One of it is the critical care services. There has been a lot of struggle around critical care. We have 10 beds ICU. We have a newborn ICU, so we can handle neonates from actually a birth weight of 200 grams. All our hospitals are manned by medical officers. We have all the special clinics. You walk to a hospital now, you'll find a gynecologist seated any day, Monday to Saturday. You will find a physician. You will find a pediatrician. So take advantage of this, and I believe we are going to partner together. Thank you so much, and I appreciate for your time. Thank you.
As we go on, one of the other key sectors is agribusiness, and we do have one of our partners representing agribusiness here, Mr. Kongo.
Dlba Danson is my name, and I'm here on behalf of Oxfam AG Limited. I am the head of marketing and communication. So Oxfam is registered under KEFIS and HCD, and we specialize in fruit tree propagation and distribution of seedlings throughout to the country and also abroad. Our vision is to ease the work of the farmer so that they can be able to focus on the production. Our mission is to be the most sought after by farmers due to the products and services that you're gonna receive from Oxfam AG Limited. We have fruity seedlings. The reason as to we call them custom number is that you can be able to purchase seedlings a number that you want. The packages are fixed based on the size of the land. Then we have agri-tours. This is where we take farmers to successful people who have done farming before, and you're able to see what farming is. Smart agri solutions. This is where we advise farmers on the best practices, even for the products that we do not have as Oxfam. We normally purchase produce from the farmers, so they do not have to worry where they're gonna sell their products. And that is Oxfam. We're gonna interact more. We are based in Nairobi, Eldoret, Nakuru, Nyeri, and Njoro. Thank you very much.
One of our other partners who's in value addition is Rachel, and she runs a company that has peanut products, and she's in value addition of peanut butter mostly.
My name is Rachel Kinyanjui, and we run a company called Ivna Products. We are a small-scale manufacturing company. We are based in Thogoto, and we manufacture natural peanut butter, which has no additives. The beauty of peanut butter is that it is self-preserving, so we do not need to add any preservatives. Our product is quality, and it has been tested and certified by KEBS. So I'll still emphasize, please choose our natural peanut butter. I would like to comment that the future of small-scale enterprise is bright, and I would like to thank the partnership with Dlba, and most importantly, the support from you guys. Nyawera, I call you every time I have a question in my mind. I know the person to call, and she will always have an answer for me. So I look forward to doing business with you, and bye. Kenya, build Kenya. Thank you for listening to me.
So we're going to do something. I want you to introduce yourself to everyone on your table, and then I want you to introduce someone else on another table that you know, to the people on your table. Don't introduce me to anyone.
My name is Surveyor Stephen Kigade. I'm a registered surveyor with the ISK, Institute of Surveyors of Kenya. And I'm also director of Hostep Holding Limited, a company that deals with real estate around Kikuyu and Kiambu. We have given ourselves to our level best to make sure that when you buy a property from our company, you'll receive a genuine title deed. We are going to offer you the best in terms of consultations, free consultations, and we also have to take you to the site. You don't have to go with the boda organization to the huko. So, Hostep Hall Limited, we are located at Kikuyu Town, so our head office, our bar house, room number S12, that is first floor. We also have another office at Kamango, that is Daisy House, first floor. We also have another office, a branch office in the Muru, next to Society Building Store, County Park House, first floor.
My name is Michael Maura. Michael Maura is the South County Police Commander, Kikuyu, representing or studying for my DCC, Mr. Kenywa, who is engaged elsewhere. Otherwise, mine is just to say thanks and congratulate the organizers, and specifically the sponsors who are the Jubilee Insurance, and from what I've understand, they are coming here in Kikuyu officially. We as a great team, we are ready to provide what is required for you to excel as you give services to Kikuyu people.
My name is James Juguna, and from Chatbots Africa. We are revolutionizing the ordering process. We call it conversational ordering process. So where your clients, instead of just plugging in, going to the website that we always forget, they save your number on WhatsApp, and then they can do their ordering through WhatsApp. 80% of customer queries can be automated. So repetitive work is what we have automated. So where do we start? You give us your number, we register it on WhatsApp Business, not on the app on your phone, but online. We configure you on our backend, and then you begin to sell more. All the orders are present now on the dashboard. We configure you, we set you up all the orders. Once they get into your end, we have the order and invoicing process where now you can complete your order. Thank you.
I would like to invite Mr. Isaac Maura to just say a few words and say hi to us.
Morning, team. I want to take this opportunity to appreciate Dlba for organizing this breakfast meeting. Mental health in the workplace is a good topic to discuss. We've been going through a lot in the business community. We've been expected to serve customers without ceasing, yet we're supposed to be observing those COVID-19 protocols. And sometimes everybody wants to be served and everybody wants to go. What happens in that situation is that you find people starting getting worked up. And once they start getting worked up, you start getting people exchanging bad words, tempers flare, and sometimes to maintain your cool becomes a bit of a challenge. We've gone through a lot. And combined with what the main sponsor, Jubilee Insurance, we've been trying as much as possible to tell people that we have insurance products. We are not an insurance company ourselves, but we are insurance agents, and we can connect the business community with any insurance that they would like to connect with.
My name is Rahab Washira. I'm an insurance officer here at Kikuyu branch. We are an agent. So we only source this product for our customers. And so Jubilee is the main risk carrier. We place our customers in Jubilee for medical, for motor vehicle, and all those. So you're very much invited at Kikuyu branch insurance department. I sit in credit section where we offer consultancy on loans and also insurance products and insurance knowledge.
My name is Christine Karimi Ndungo. I am the manager of Mom's Hotel, and I'm just here to briefly talk about what we do. We are a hotel that offers food, of course, we are a hotel. And from breakfast, meetings, we have birthday parties, we cater, we do outside catering. We also have accommodation. We also have new rooms. We have very nice set rooms nowadays. That's just a sample of our menu. The presentation that was here before, you need to save these numbers so that you can get the menu. So that when you come to Mom's, you've already ordered online. 0795 899 829. We'd also like to thank you, Dlba, for organizing this meeting here. We are visitors today, and we'd like to host you guys again. Thank you so much, and karibuni Moms.
Before I just hand over to Mr. James Kamau, I would like to do a brief introduction about Dlba. Some of you might not be familiar with us. So Dlba is a business association accredited by the government. We work under the guidelines of the national government, specifically MSEA. We are started and homegrown, started in Kikuyu, based in Kikuyu. So our model of operation is bringing MSMEs together for impact and localization of impact. This is the third edition of the Kikuyu Business Network. We had our first business expo, Kikuyu Business Expo, in 2019, November 2019, and we had the two-day Dlba Business Expo on July 30th and 31st. So we are a member association, and I think on every table, you're going to find a flyer giving more information about Dlba and our membership. And also we have the first edition of the Business Network magazine. You can find it at the reception for sale. We have features from some of you here talking about building business resilience. That has been our running theme for the past 1 year, because we're in a period where every business needs to be resilient. And today, our theme being mental health at the workplace, one of the things that are very important when it comes to mental health is green spaces. And one of our key partners as Dlba is Friends of Ondiri Wetland, Kenya. I'm not sure if how many of you have visited Ondiri Wetland? Those who live in Kikuyu, Ondiri Wetland? Oh, that's very, very few people. We need more people to visit. It's the only quaking bog in Kenya. It's the only highland bog, the second deepest wetland in Africa. And it's very, very critical recharge system. It's the source of headwaters of Nairobi River, source of Kikuyu Springs, which is where State House gets their water, and etc. and etc. We need more green spaces when it comes to mental health. I would like to welcome you very much to our third edition. Let us talk more. If you need more information about Dlba, you can talk to myself or my colleague, Jeff Gitao. And now I would like to officially hand over the program to Jubilee Medical Insurance, Mr. James Kamau.
I take this opportunity to welcome you on behalf of Jubilee Health Insurance to this very interesting and interactive session on mental health. So I take this opportunity now to introduce Mr. Moses Nderitu, who gives us the reason to be here this morning. We have seen him grow. I have personally been involved in his growth over the last period of about 10 years. He joined Jubilee Health Insurance in 2012. I still remember him sitting somewhere in a corner in the office with his laptop beginning to look for clients. Moses has an MBA. In this community, there is a very serious insurance agent who knows what he's doing. So I just give him this opportunity to tell you what he does. Karibu Moses.
Thank you so much for this good morning meeting that we have had. And before I go to the product, I want to first of all thank Jubilee Insurance so much for sponsoring this event and the working relationship we have had. I'm also a member of Dlba. Thank you, Dlba, for making it also possible. Here we have two products that we actually partnering with Jubilee Insurance, and they're very affordable products that we actually have here. One is an individual product, and I'll be talking about the individual product. Another is also a corporate product that targets most of the businesses that have actually presented where we are. So I'll be talking about what Jubilee actually offers and what we're actually going to be pushing and providing to you. That is the individual products, and Jubilee has a range of them. There's J-Care, that is an individual cover, and also a family cover. There's J-Seniors that takes care of our elderly members in the society. Johari, that is the first product that you saw there. That is a micro product. And we have for SMEs, and that is what Dlba is actually growing here in Kikuyu. We need to ensure that your health is covered. You can imagine building a business, and just when you've just broken even, and you've taken a loan with Equity Bank, an illness comes in, and you're the CEO or your staff, the key staff members, and you're required to pay some amount. You don't need to stop your business. That is why insurance is actually here for businesses, and that is called what we call Jubilee Business, SME business. And finally, I'm also going to be talking about the micro health insurance. So all these covers actually gives all this range of products: the inpatient, outpatient, dental, maternity, and of course the last expense. At some point, we don't leave this world, but the gentleman, Reverend Kiongo, who was here and started the meeting for us, said that there is grace for every day, but finally there'll be the last day. Let's continue. So the first product that I talked about is called J-Care. J-Care is actually an individual or a family cover. It actually takes care of, it has very many levels of cover. For example, there's inpatient, there's outpatient, there's dental, there's optical, and there's maternity. Those are 5 levels of cover. It actually takes care of pre-existing conditions and chronic conditions. These are most of the hospitals that we know in the country are actually covered. COVID-19 is covered under this cover. Overseas inpatient, post-hospitalization benefits, last expense, and then an accidental cover. What this accidental cover does is that should you die out of an accident and you're being treated by Jubilee in a certain hospital, your family is not left without help. You get $500,000 to tell you poorly, and then a last expense. Yeah. So these are the benefits. There's a range of cover from all the way from $500,000 all the way to $5 million cover. And there is outpatient from $50,000 all the way to $150,000 per member. And then there is a maternity from all the way from $80,000 up to $150,000. Then we have dental coverage and optical coverage all the way from $5,000 to $40,000. So who is eligible? Anyone from the time they are born, 0 days, that 8 weeks. Doctors say that at that 8 weeks, a child is able to be born. They are fully developed. That 8 weeks to 60 years. And actually, just before that 8 weeks, this cover actually takes care of preterms, children who are born before that 8 weeks. If you have purchased a maternity cover. And members, this is an individual cover that actually you can actually join up to the age 60. And any member who is joining as a principal member needs to be above 18 years of age. And our requirements are very few, just an ID and a KRA PIN, just that. And of course the premium. And for members above 50 years of age, we may need to ask you for a medical report. And we can get a medical report from very many facilities around at a very affordable cost. Next slide. The next cover we can offer to you is a J Senior member. J Senior is just as the name goes, it's actually entirely made for senior members in our society. From the age of 60, and you can actually continue all the way to 80 years of age. Yeah. So what is also covered is the very good product offering, the taking care of pre-existing conditions. It has an annual checkup. This is at the tail end of life. Every year counts. Every bit of health actually counts, and you need to monitor. This is when bills come knocking. All the money you have actually been keeping for the entire of your life. A medical cover comes in handy. So this checkup helps you be able to monitor your health by having an annual checkup. There's also an inbuilt cover for terminal illness. And we have a range of them, terminal illnesses, like cancer is one of them, and very many other, heart attack, and very many others, that if in case they came in, there's actually a sub-limit for that within the inpatient. Another thing that also is covered under this benefit, and you might not see it in most individual covers, is hearing aids. Hearing aids. If that is the time you're not able to hear very well, we could actually take care of that for your sick family members who are aged. So what is we have coverage of between 1M all the way to 5 million, and have very good sub-limits for pre-existing conditions. COVID-19 is also covered by both inpatient and outpatient, and of course a personal accident. Yeah, maybe the personal accident might not make sense that time, but it's also covered there. Then of course the ages are there, and of course, as I said earlier, any member who joining 50 years and above, you can actually be able to. We require a medical checkup, and in case you want to transfer to this cover, you can talk to Jubilee, and if you've been on another insurance company and you feel it's a product that can work for you, you can ask for a waiting period to be waived. Yeah, if you're coming from another insurance company. So those are the two products for individuals. Now on the business front, we have the JBs. There's 10 levels of cover, all the way from a very affordable covers from 250,000 inpatient, all the way to 5 million inpatient cover. Then there's the 6th level of cover, that is the outpatient. From you can have outpatient of as little as 35,000, all the way to 200,000. Then there's the dental plan of 3 levels. 10,000, 15,000, and actually 20,000. And then maternity plans, 5 of them, all the way from 50,000 and again all the way to 200,000. So kila mkulima bei yake iko sawa sawa, taking care of everyone at any given time. And that doesn't mean that when you join at a certain point in your business, that this year you're only able to buy inpatient, that next year you're going to stick there. You can actually keep advancing. And also, within that cover, you can actually be able to segment the number of people you have. There are those senior members who may be in your business that needs higher cover than others. That also is also well taken care of. Yeah, it's also well taken care of. That you can have some members within patients, some others, or that we can actually tailor make the product for you. So, who is an SME or a JBs to Jubilee and to us? Is any organization that has 5 staff members. And because we salespeople are creative, Jubilee Musikize, we can actually help you get the 5 numbers. So meaning if your wife can be one of the principal members, you can also be a principal member, you're one key staff member. Yeah, and you are there. You have 5 members, and we have an organization, a business cover for you. And this one has no eating periods, just that are normal with the individual covers. 14 days of registration, and if you transferring from other insurance company, immediately in the evening, you can actually, if you're actually transferring from another insurance company, you can actually be expecting in the morning, in the evening you want to go deliver, and the bill will be paid for you. Yeah, that we can do that. We can do that miracle. Yeah, for you. So who is covered is for people who are actually working between the ages of 18 years up to 60, and that can be extended to 65, and even sometimes beyond if you need to continue working for your organization. So, and dependents can be covered up to the ages of 23, just when they are clearing university, and yeah, so that they can also go and be part. I've actually had organizations that have covered whose members have actually graduated from being dependents to owners of business, from being dependents to forming an SME, and also becoming part of that. Yeah, it's a very good journey. So, yeah, and in case utilization is good, you get discounts. I think that is enough for that. You can go to the next available slide. Then we have another version of the same, just what I've said about JBs. We have another version of the same that is actually called micro insurance. It's actually the word micro, but doesn't mean that it actually is very small. No, we have very good levels of cover from 200,000 inpatient, 300, and even 500,000. And for any organization that has 10 staff and above. And so as I said, it's 200,000, 300, and 500,000. What makes it actually micro is the number of hospitals. The one that we spoke about, that is JBs, allows you to go to all the big hospitals that we have here in the country, the likes of Nairobi Hospital, Aga Khan, MP Shah, Mata, and many others. But now micro removes some of those big hospitals just to reduce your costs, because you know you're in business, and to take care of that. And it's a very comprehensive cover. For example, a cover like the silver cover, let me just give an example, is and it's actually the one of the covers, as I say, that is on this brochure. That is the corporate cover of 10 people at a cost of 21,000 for one staff. You have a cover of 300,000. You have a cover of an outpatient of 50,000. And you have a cover of maternity of 50,000, and you have a funeral cover of 50,000 from 21,000. Meaning if you have 10 staff that are required for a micro cover, you actually, with 210,000 in short, inclusive of levies, you have a cover that does not even pay, that 200,000 cannot even take care of one staff inpatient only. So you don't want your staff coming to you asking you, boss, nasikuji, lakini si unipatie ka advance, toto ni mgonjwa. Just 21,000. And you can actually facilitate installment payments up to 6 months. Yeah, depending on the size of the organization. So basically that is the same thing. It's a copy paste of that, and you can have all the benefits available. Next one, the next slide. So then, why Jubilee? Why Jubilee now? Why Jubilee? And Jubilee is not just offering medical insurance. Yes, definitely there are very many companies offering medical insurance, but why? They have done very many things that I'm going to speak briefly about. The royalty program, the Maisha Fitness, they have actually made, other than just selling insurance and giving the insurance product as is, they're facilitating other things that make the journey even more enjoyable when you sign up with Jubilee. There's a royalty program, and one of them, then we can go to the next, just go to the next slide, okay, it's okay. Once you join, as long as you have your card, it entitles you to become, and you are a mother, anyone who is actually a lady. You join a mom's club that gives you access to other ladies, and the forums are actually organized to learn some of these things about self-care, nutrition, delivery, expert information, childhood development. All this information is actually available through the Moms Club. Yeah. For the people who have actually covered under J Senior, whether under individual cover or under corporate cover, you have access to all this as a senior member. You get into a group of people who are in your age bracket, and you learn together, and you're able to cope with some of these challenges, like, for example, diabetes, the chronic condition like diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, back pains, heart disease, and obesity. They are actually brought, you're actually brought to, and you know how people are managing and coping. Because again, even with a medical cover, we know the cost of medical is very expensive in this country. So some of these things, what it does, it actually helps you even to preserve your cover, because you're able to get more information of how you can actually be able to take care of yourselves, even outside the medical insurance. Yeah, and that is what the lifestyle management offers. Then, with your card, with either digital or physical, you can visit all these brands and you get their services and their products at a subsidized rate. If somebody is, and I've actually used some of them at bookshop points and at Zucchini, I've actually enjoyed some of the too. Those are things that I've actually done myself. Yes, I have bought books from Textbook Center. If somebody is buying at 1,000, you get it at 10% less. It's 100, but it's not a lot of money, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing because you have at the end of the day, you still needed a book. If somebody is buying at 1,000 and you can actually get it far much less, the better. All these companies, yes. So another enhancement that has actually that Jubilee offers in their products is the drug delivery. That is a game changer with COVID-19 with us here. You don't need to go to hospital. It's actually in the next slide. Just go to the next slide so that I just present the two of them together. You can actually see a doctor online. Search a doctor on your app, and then live via another app will facilitate your drug to be brought to your home without leaving the comfort of your house. So you don't even need to take an off from your, you don't need to send an off request to your organization because you're working from home, that I will not be available on Zoom or for whatever facility you are on. You can actually be treated as you're working at your desk in the house using your card. Yeah, and that actually is a game changer. What other value propositions are available? Of course, I've talked about the wellness program. And of course, if not a very high payment, you can actually ask for discounts every single year of your renewal. Yeah, and very many other things that you can actually be able to discuss. So, as I said, we are here officially working as an extended Jubilee. You don't need to go to town. We are here at Eureka building. It's just opposite Equity Bank, next to Green Shelf Supermarket. We are at second floor. Come there. We can order for a cup of tea for you from Mom's Hotel. You don't need to make one for you. We can grow the Mom's Hotel. We have been doing that, and they deliver. As you take tea, you sign up. Here are our contacts. You can actually talk to me after this. Yes, and you come and find us with some people, and we can have very good interactions. And of course, with the age of COVID-19, we'll reduce our conversation. As soon as we finish that conversation, the rest of the things that you're going to send to you are actually going to be the e-documents, an e-policy document, an e-card, and even e-service. Yeah, we can do all that. So thank you so much. I am happy about this relationship we have actually begun. You don't need to go to town once again. We are here for you. Let us do the working for you.
Now, just to enhance what Moses has said, I want to mention 5 quick things about Jubilee Insurance. So if you can note down, it would be good. These are some of the separators from the others. And the first thing is, we are 85 years old. And when you are a Kamze of 85 years old, you happen to know 2 or 3 things. And we organize webinars for SMEs just to mentor them. And now through Mosfin Capital, we shall be inviting you so that you join the seminars, the webinars. We cover different topics, and we have found them to be very enlightening both ways for the SMEs and even for us to understand their needs. The second thing is that we are present within the East African region. We are in Tanzania, we are in Uganda, we are in Burundi, we are in Mauritius, and of course with our head office here in Kenya. The third thing is we pay claims. And this is something, this is the role of an insurance company. So as a medical insurer, within the region, we pay close to 10 billion shillings. Please write 10 billion shillings. That is what this organization pumps into the economy through hospitals, right? So you give jobs, you do all the things that you see going on in the hospital. Our contribution to it is how much? 10 billion is not said like that. Can we say it nicely? How much? Yes. Then, of course, we have very many departments within the organization just to make sure that our service delivery to the customer is very good. Some of those departments include care management, because we want to visit you in hospital and ensure that you are receiving good care. We have provider partnership and listening to Life Care Hospital. I mean, that's where they come under. We have, of course, finance. We have business development, where myself falls. We have branch networks, because we have branches across the country and the region. And we also provide value-added services, the ones Moses has articulated. So we have something for everyone. I now want to take this opportunity to invite our CEO to make a few remarks. We are an organization that employs close to 300 employees. We are about 2,000 agents spread across the country. You've heard that banks are also intermediaries, so you can imagine with all their networks. And we have also other non-conventional intermediaries that we work with. So it's my big pleasure this morning to invite Dr. Patrick Bertonga to make a few remarks during this session that we are focusing on mental health at the workplace.
As James has mentioned, my name is Patrick. I look after the company Jubilee Health Insurance. And I just want to make a few comments because I know our main speaker for today is Grace, who's going to be taking us through the session on mental health. So first of all, I really want to thank Dlba, Nyawira and team. I was saying to her, what you're doing here is very inspirational. Not just to the Kikuyu community, business community, but also to the rest of us. And I think this is something that we'll be happy to share in terms of what is happening here, to see how it can be spread in other parts of the country that we work in. We also feel very privileged to be here with some of our very close business partners, Equity Bank. But Isaac, I know we come a long way with Equity Bank. We do a lot of work with the bank. We're also a big customer of the bank. I know you're also one of our closest supporters. So it's good to see the work that is being done here. It's also good to see all the other work that is happening here. I think, when I meet somebody next time who's doing construction, I know where they can get gypsum. I know where they can get affordable gypsum that is, made and made here. We buy Kenya and we build Kenya, isn't it? So I just wanted to, emphasize one thing. Now that we are slowly getting out of the COVID situation. We've seen a lot of things over the last 1 year. And I want to emphasize this because of the topic of the discussion of the day. There are three things we say in life we must always look after. One is to look after our faith and family, isn't it? That is why we started with Reverend Kiongo. We started by saying our prayer. We all came from families. We are all here because we have families that we need to support. And that is something we must always remember at the back of our mind, because when all is done and dusted, that is where we all fall back to. The second thing is to look after our mind, because unless we have a clear and healthy mind, we are not able to think and create and work and take care of all that needs to be taken care of. And all these things are intertwined. The third thing, which is a big part of the reason we are here, is to take care of our finances and to build wealth. From the moment we are born to, throughout life, we are born, we go to school so that we can learn and develop new skills. After that, we start looking for some means to live. And the reason we live is because we have a purpose that is intertwined in those three things. We have families and children and people to take care of, and some impact to have on other families that are not necessarily our own families, our own community. So we spend a lot of time building wealth. But there is one thing, and I know Isaac Maura mentioned it. There's one thing we don't do very well as Kenyans. I myself included, and that is the one thing I really want us to challenge us to think about and take action on. All this time we are spending here, it's because we want to build our businesses, isn't it? We are here because we want to make money, isn't it? We want to feed our families and grow them and grow ourselves. But sometimes we are shy of the fact that there are things that can happen that quickly turn us around. A very good example is COVID. In the last 1 year, being in the health insurance space, we have seen a lot of, there are hundreds of cases. If we had time, we would talk about every single one of them. We have seen a lot of families who suddenly had to pay 1 million shillings, 2 million shillings, because they have somebody in hospital who's having difficulty in breathing, and they cannot get them in hospital unless they are able to foot in their bills. And even for those who've been able to foot in their bills, we have seen situations where people are taken back to the drawing board. You've spent years building savings, putting money, borrowing, walking into equity and taking a loan, walking into the circle and taking a loan, invested that money, and suddenly it's wiped out. We have seen businesses that have had to close down. We have seen people become stressed. You're running a school, children are back to school, they have decided to ban the dormitory, and suddenly you have to look for money to build it. We have seen a lot of harambes. I actually have on my phone, on WhatsApp, there's some fundraising we are trying to do for different people. It's not even one or two. Family members, friends, and all that. Back to what Maura said, that a long time ago, we all used to keep money in our pillows. We didn't realize that that money could be put in a bank, and because of the money we are putting in the bank, it helps us to borrow more, and it helps us to earn interest. All these events can be very easily taken care of by us protecting our own wealth. And that is what insurance is about. I know we always hear of insurance and we think of motor insurance, motor vehicle insurance, because it's compulsory. Because when you go on the road, somebody will look at the car. There'll be a policeman who looks at the windscreen to check whether you have motor insurance. But the most important person to be insured is yourself, your family, and your wealth. So please take care of that, because with that you can operate with a peace of mind, and you can insure yourself, you can insure your families. If you have parents who are aged, insurance is not what it used to be like. It's very quickly changing. We are able to insure people who are even up to 80 years old, as Moses mentioned. You don't need to worry, what happens to your mother or your father, who is 70 years old, and maybe has hypertension. What happens if one day they are suddenly in hospital, or they require to go to hospital, and you need to look for money? You don't need to close your business or sell a plot. You don't need to take that plot and sell it to raise money to pay bills. Or when your business closes down, or there is a fire, you can actually go back to an insurance company and claim that money, and get your money back. So insurance is able to take you back to where you should be, or where you have spent a lot of time building. And lastly, on insuring yourself, and many people don't know this, you can actually insure yourself in what we call life insurance, so that if anything happens to you as a mom or as a dad or a single person, looking after your extended family, the dependents you leave behind don't need to be left wondering where to begin. It's very difficult when you see families, and I'm sure each of us has had experiences like this, where you've lost a member of the family, they have left children behind, they have left dependents behind, people who are depending on them to get, to live. You can actually insure yourself in a very affordable way. There are covers where you only need to pay about, save even 500 shillings per day and put it aside. And you find that in the case of an event, you could easily leave your family with 20 million, 30 million shillings, that while they mourn and figure out the next chapter of their life, they're financially taken care of, and children don't have to go out of school or change schools because of the events that have occurred there. So I think let's try and move away from the harambes are good, raising money is good, but let's move to a place where we can be able to put money aside and protect the wealth and the people that we spend so much time working for. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
At Jubilee Health, we work with very many hospitals, as you can imagine. And these hospitals, locally and overseas, provide different services. Now, one of those institutions that we deal with is the Chiromo Group. And today we are honored to partner with them in the delivery of this session on mental health at the workplace. And who else other than Grace Gashanja, who is a lead clinical psychologist. So please let's stand up even as we stretch. Sindio?
All right, let's shout in unison. How are you feeling today? Yes, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling? Una feel aje wewe? Yes, so what's your feeling? Like, I'm feeling happy, whatever you're feeling, sad, hungry, cold. So what are you feeling? Happy, hungry, cold. Okay, so a lot of our media started reporting more on domestic violence. They started reporting more on substance use disorders. They started reporting more on alcohol use and how much that has become an impact, has been affecting us as a whole, right? And further than that, just earlier in July, they reported that in 3 months, between March and June, 483 people had died by suicide. And they said that was a lot more that was reported in the whole of 2020. So mental health is something that affects us. And because we work, not necessarily where you're employed, but where you get your bread and butter. where you work, that's where you spend a lot of your time, right? Like today, we were very early, we were here at 7. You'll probably, after this, go to your office. You'll probably leave there at around 5, 6, right? How many hours of your day has that been? Probably a little bit less than 12. Multiply by that by 6 days if you work on Saturdays. Some of us work around the clock, right? So at the workplace, that's where you spend a lot of your time. And that's where a lot of our stressors come in from. Whether it's because you want to grow your business, or it's because you have deadlines to meet if you're employed, or it's because other than where you're mainly employed, you also have other businesses that you want to grow. All these affects our mental health, and that's why this conversation is also important, not just for us, but for everyone. Now we can go into the biashara of today. So when we talk of mental health, we define, these are our branches. We have a vision as Shiroma Hospital Group to provide quality, dignified mental health care. And our mission is to pursue excellence in the delivery of mental health services by adhering to evidence-based practice. And we mainly do that through promotive and preventive mental health by partnering with organizations like Jubilee and now Dlba so that we can have conversations on mental health. We prevent mental health and mental illnesses such as depression and the like that you said, the stress, before it gets to a point where you need admission. We can prevent it by changing our lifestyle on a day-to-day basis. We operate on the core values of respect, honesty, innovation, and reliability. And we have a tagline of recovery and dignity. Thank you. Sawa. So I was told I have about 30 or so minutes, so I'll try to be within that time. So when we think of mental health, the World Health Organization defines it as a state of well-being where every single individual is able to realize their potential, they're able to cope with normal day-to-day stresses, they're able to work productively, fruitfully, and make a contribution to the community that they exist in. Just to break that down, it means that all of us have a potential. We all have goals that we work towards every single day. So when you're able to achieve those goals that you've set, that means that's an indicator of having good mental health. In the workplaces where we go, there are days that you have a to-do list of about 3, 4, 5 items. You want to make a certain number of sales, you want to interact or attend a couple number of meetings. And when you're able to set those goals, be productive and look back at the end of the day that I was able to do 1, 2, 3 things and I achieved them all, that's an indicator of productivity, right? But there are also situations where you look back and you see, yes, I was at work, but I can't really figure out what it is that I was able to do. That's an indicator that maybe on that day, your mental health was not at 100%. And that's one thing that we need to all recognize. Mental health is not, we don't always operate at 100. There are things, these life stresses, that affect how we interact, how we relate, and how we work. Okay? So one day you're going to be able to achieve everything. The other day you're going to only be able to achieve 7 out of 10. And there are days because of one reason or the other. Maybe because you're unwell, or you received some bad news, or things changed and you had to work on a different thing, you won't be able to achieve anything. And acknowledging and understanding that is very important for us as individuals. But there is also a difference between when you're experiencing good mental health and when you're experiencing poor mental health. So by definition, that is what good mental health looks like. But on the flip side, when you're not able to experience good mental health, how we see this is that we start noticing that you're not able to have, or you're finding it a little bit more difficult to make decisions or manage how you're thinking, how you're feeling, with respect to the daily stresses that you go through on a day-to-day basis. Say, for example, you woke up and you found that your child was feeling unwell, but your mind completely went blank and you were not able to do or deal with anything other than just handling your child, taking them to hospital and making sure they're okay. That's a life stressor that made you not able to perform as well, okay? And stresses affect our mental health. If, for example, you woke up and you were going to the office and there was a lot of traffic on the way, and after that, the rest of the day becomes very confused. Everything is confused. You can't figure out what I'm supposed to do here, how I'm supposed to get there. That affects your mental health as well, right? So what I'm trying to say is that different factors affect how we understand ourselves, how we relate to other people, and how the various activities come into place. But let's talk about stress, which is a very big deal. And when we think of stress, one of us, I think, said that When you think of mental health, stress is one of the things that comes into mind. And stress is such a big deal because I don't think there's ever a day or a week that passes that each of us have not said how stressed we are, or how stressed you're feeling, or how worried we are about likely things that are happening. But how exactly is stress? Allow me to remove this. So stress is how our body physically or emotionally reacts to any demands that are placed upon it. And I like using the example of being chased by a dog. If you don't like dogs and that dog chases after you, you run, you won't freeze, right? That's how your body reacts to it. There are some of us who, even at the office, if you have a lot that is expected of you, you're supposed to meet deadlines, then your mind gets into that zone where you're able to focus and do a lot more. That's emotionally and also psychologically. That's exactly how stress comes. But most of us, when we think of stress, we often think of it in the negative, right? But you know there's actually something called good stress. Stress can be two ways. It can be good or bad. Yeah? So when we're talking about the good stress, this is what we refer to as eustress. Positive stress that motivates you to do better or to do well. Like say, for example, Mr. Moses here is starting an organization, Mosfin Capital in Kikuyu. This is a really good thing for him. It shows growth. He's partnering with Jubilee. But in as much as it's a good thing, it can also have very impactful consequences, right? Because now he needs to find clients, he needs to sell and increase penetration insurance within Kikuyu town. I don't know how much it is, but he needs to increase it so that we can all benefit. And I'm hoping all of us will buy into insurance from Mosfin. Kidogo sales. You know, so that's an example of good stress. Bad stress could be if you're unwell or you have a child who's unwell. And what this stress does is that in any given situation, if you're getting too little stress, you'll be bored, you'll be lazy, you'll not have anything much to do. So the more stress you're experiencing, especially the positive kind, the one that's motivating you to do better, and even in some cases, even when stress is negative, but it's just not too much, it's just a bit, it's also not bad because you're able to cope. And what happens is the more stress you're experiencing, whether positive or negative, it increases how your productivity is up to a certain point. Yeah? So it's like a bell curve. But after that point, it starts getting low. So even as much as it's good stress, even good stress in excess, because there's that demand it's placing on you, can get to a point where it becomes negative and turns into eustress. Because then you're fatigued, you're not able to achieve your goals, you're not able to maybe take care of your physical health, not spend time with family, which is also quite stressful, right? And in excess, stress in the way we look at it can also be different types of stress, depending on how often and how frequently it's coming into your life. We have what we refer to as acute stress. Acute is the one that just comes and goes. Like say, for example, you need to get to a meeting and you're a bit late. That's an example of acute stress, right? Episodic stress is the one that comes a little bit more frequently. Like the way we have every month at the end of the month, you need to pay your bills, you need to pay people, you need to make sure you have enough money to take your business throughout the next of the month. So every month, end of the month, and you know it follows a certain sequence, that's episodic stress. But in the excess, we have what we refer to as chronic stress. Chronic stress now comes in when you're experiencing stress on a daily basis and in extreme circumstances. Like say, for example, when was the last time you remember not being stressed? Right? This one often comes if maybe you're starting a new business, or you have a child who's unwell, or you have bills, or you have someone who's in hospital and you need to figure out their bills. You know, the one that comes every single day, if you look back, you're not able to identify when was the last time I was not stressed because of how extreme it is. And this chronic stress is what we are often worried about. Because in as much as we know that that stress can cause physical illnesses, like the diabetes, like the hypertension that we talk about, and all those making already existing physical illnesses even worse, it also puts us at risk of developing mental illnesses. If you're constantly stressed, then you're at a much more higher likelihood of developing illnesses like anxiety and depression. Why is this? You're constantly worried. You're probably not also taking very good care of yourself, right? If you drink, you're probably drinking a lot more. If you smoke, you're probably smoking a lot more. And that also puts your physical health at risk. Yeah? So all those can be affected. And even in the workplace, this can even get to the place where it's affecting your work, it's affecting your business, it's affecting your productivity. So this is just a bit of research that highlights why it is so important for us to talk about mental health, especially within the workplace. And for today's conversation, we'll focus a lot at some of the things, not mental illnesses, but some of the conditions that we see within our workplaces, such as burnout, and also maintaining a good work-life balance so that we can prevent mental illness and manage stress when we're in those spaces. So this is just a bit of research that was done, I believe, in the year 2019-2020, during that whole COVID period. So a research by the American Institute of Stress indicated that 80% of workers felt stress on the job nearly half the time, and they said the organization was not helping them learn stress. So my question to all the business owners here will be, of your staff, how many of them are reporting stress? What is it that you're doing as a business owner and as a person who's running a small organization or an SME to make sure that the mental health of your staff is maintained? Most of these people reported that within this workplace, it was rising, 6 out of every 10 workers. And this is basically what was reported. Out of every 10 workers, 6 people were saying they're experiencing a lot of work-related stress. And one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, is that when someone is experiencing chronic stress, it may trigger them to actually have a lot of mental illnesses like depression, which is one of the leading causes of disability worldwide. And what happens when our staff is going through depression or their mental health is not okay? When they come to work, they won't be able to function. Probably, and that is if they come to work. Some of them will have a lot of sick days. They won't perform as well. If they are part of your sales team, they won't be able to make as many sales as possible, which means you also lose as a business owner or even as a manager in the organization that you're working from. And fewer than 25% of these people actually have access to healthcare or effective treatments. And with these insurances that you're partnering with here, they help you get access to providers like us. So it's important to have insurance as well. Work-related sources of distress can be very many, like job insecurity, which a lot of us went through during the COVID pandemic. Like the job that this person is doing, it's not something that they're very well versed with. I'd not like to imagine how probably Mr. Moss has had a hard time moving from banking into sales. I don't know how that was. But if someone is not interested in sales and they're in sales, that would probably be very difficult for them. If you're working in a field that you're not happy about or you don't know anything about and you need to learn, that could be a very stressful time for you. Sometimes the work environment itself could not be conducive. So I think it's up to us as people who are working in this field to make sure that our environment is conducive not just for us, but also for our staff. Sometimes change management, moving from one organization to another, adapting from working in the office to working from home and then coming back to working in the office amidst the pandemic is also very stressful. So also helping your staff and you as an individual adapt to change as it comes. And sometimes just the role conflict. Someone is not very sure about what exactly am I supposed to do, what is expected of me. So even as business owners, it becomes very important to make sure that our staff understand and know what is the expectation. And also a very important one, trauma. We often don't think about trauma that our staff may go through, either coming to work or even in their homes or in the environment that they were in. Those of us who may have had people affected by maybe had a car accident or been robbed or even been victims of terrorist attacks like the Dusit attacks, that affects our mental health. And if you're working in a workplace, especially in a space which is very high traffic, that's a risk that we all acknowledge, and you need to make sure that we are protecting our staff even within that space that they're existing in. How do you know that you're stressed? Our body has different ways in which it tells us that it's feeling stressed. And because stress is an aspect that affects not just our body, but our mind and also our behavior, we have different ways which we can recognize. But for us to be able to recognize them, it means that we need to be in tune with our body. So for example, we may feel fatigued. There are those of us who have headaches. There are those of us who have tightness of muscles, which is what causes all that pain. A lot of frequent infections, so you always have a flu or a stomach flu, you're going to the hospital every so often, using your insurance at that point if you're not paying cash. In your mind, you may find that you're worrying a lot, you have a lot more difficulty focusing, you have a lot more difficulty making decisions. Your judgment is also not as good as it was before. If you're crossing the road, you find that you didn't really calculate the distance well, so you almost get hit. And some people get into accidents like that. In terms of our emotions, you find that you're very irritable. At work, you're not confident in your abilities or in the things that you need to do. You have a lot of irritability. Some people go through depression, especially if you've ever been diagnosed with depression before. It can be a trigger. In terms of our behavior, as I indicated earlier, those who drink, you're drinking a lot more. Those who smoke, you're smoking a lot more frequently, which can also affect all the other aspects. You're losing appetite or eating too much, you're sleeping too much or not sleeping at all, you don't want to be around people because it's quite fatiguing. Either you feel lonely or sometimes you're just restless, kwa kila mahali, not able to get anything done. And with excess stress, what happens within the workplace especially, if you as an individual or even your staff are consistently stressed over long periods of time, what often tends to happen or come as a result is that people suffer burnout. And burnout is one of those things that no one really understands, but when you go through it, you'll be like, wow, and you know things were bad, you know? And what is burnout? Burnout is not really a mental illness, but it is recognized as a physical illness, actually, in what is referred to as the ICD. So burnout is like a syndrome of exhaustion. So it's not really an illness as that, it's a syndrome. It comes as a result of excess stress. So it's characterized by exhaustion, cynicism, and diminished proficiency, professional efficacy, closely associated with the workplace. And the thing about it is that it builds up slowly. And then with time, it gets to a point where now, by the time you're getting there, you're fatigued, things have already started falling apart. And you may not be able to recognize it, especially if you've never gone through it before. So how do we recognize what burnout is? How do you recognize burnout in yourself or even in your staff or the people that you're working with? So the first one is that you'll notice they're not coming to work as often as they were. So you're having a lot more increased absences. Person calls in, I'm going to the hospital. Person calls in, I need a few days off. And it's very haphazard. It's not anything that was planned, it just comes in suddenly. A lot of sick offs, a lot of days off, a lot of people not coming into the office. You may also notice that you become disengaged as an individual. If you are very present in your work, if you are very present interacting with people, you're now withdrawn, you're disengaged, you don't really care about what is happening around the space. A lot of exhaustion and fatigue, getting to a point where anything and everything that you need to do is too difficult to be able to achieve it. You're a lot more sensitive to noise, sensitive to light, sensitive to interactions with people, and this can cause you to be a lot more irritable with the people that you're working with, or even with the partners that you're working with. There may also be withdrawal and isolation, so you're no longer working with your team, you're no longer interacting as often as you were before, and also a lot more accidents and mistakes happening. Someone may be wondering, where do I draw the line between burnout and stress? Tofauti ni gani? There is a difference, yeah? So we're going to go through what stress is and how it differentiates from burnout. So when we look at stress, when you're stressed, you find that you're more overly engaged. So with stress, it's that you're doing a lot at the same time and you're doing it all by yourself, yeah? So you're stressed, you're worried about work, you're worried about life, you're worried about your finances. If it's in the office, you have 3, 4, 5 tasks you need to do and complete. But when you get to burnout, you become disengaged. Nothing else matters. You just want to be. So in the office, all the tasks that need to get done, motivation to do them is actually not present. Yeah? In stress, you notice that your emotions, you become overly reactive. So it's easier for you when you're stressed to actually be very abrasive towards the people that you're interacting with. But when someone is going through burnout, the emotions are blunted. You may have an argument with them or maybe just call them out on something that they're doing, but they'll just be there. Work or two. Nothing is happening. Yeah? Stress produces a sense of urgency and hyperactivity, while burnout actually causes hopelessness and helplessness. Like you just don't care. Hey, you're going to fire me. It's okay. Oh, the business is not making money. it's okay, there's no point. That's what happens in burnout. In stress, there's a loss of energy, but when someone is going through burnout, they have lost motivation, they have lost ideals, they've lost hope in even their businesses or their people prospering. When we have stress, what we often see coming out are what we refer to as anxiety disorders because of that sense of urgency, wondering if things are going to come through. But in burnout, what we often see are depressive disorders. And also a lot of detachment from what people are, from everything that's happening around you. So in stress, primarily it damages our physical health, which is why often we find that people are getting anxiety or even becoming hypertensive within that space. But in burnout, the damage often affects our emotions, which is why it's often related with depression. And stress kills you prematurely. Burnout makes you feel like life is not worth living. So I guess we can say comfortably that burnout is one of those things that we never want to experience in our lives. Sindio? Yeah, scary, right? I want to give you hope. So what are some of the causes of burnout? So that you can also reflect on our lives and see what is it that we've been doing that we need to change up? What is it that we need to change? What is it that we need to work on so that we don't get into the space of burnout? Feeling like you don't have control. You feel like you don't have control over your life, you don't have control over your time, you don't have control over your money. So find a way of finding control so that you can prevent burnout. Having a dysfunctional work environment where not everything is in place yet. So setting up systems, unclear roles or expectations. If you don't have a specific goal or target that you're working towards, that can be a cause of burnout. Sometimes things outside the office can also trigger burnout for us. If you have an unwell relative, if you have recently been unwell yourself, if there's a lot more of social and family demands, if you're having family discord with your spouse or even with your children, that can also be a trigger for burnout because of things happening outside, and by the time you're getting to the office, you're already tired and fatigued and the office already demands a lot from you. Feeling like you're not supported, either by your family or by your staff, or even as a staff member, you feel you're not supported by your employer or by your manager, that can also be a cause of burnout. But worst of all is when you don't have a good work-life balance, especially as someone who is starting a small business. Yeah? So, or even running a business by yourself, or even a member of staff where you find that you're giving 100%, sometimes 110% to the organization that you're working for. If you don't have a good work-life balance, that can also cause burnout. So how do we deal with this? How do we prevent burnout from occurring? How do we protect our mental health in the spaces where we work? Work-life balance is one of those things. And as you see here, I have a very pretty image of a lady who's able to somehow manage her work and her life. And what work-life balance is that it's the proper prioritization between work, that is your career and your ambition and your profession, on one hand, and on the other hand, you have health, your pleasure, your leisure, your spiritual aspects, and all the other aspects of you as an individual or as family that you work on. So when we're looking at work-life balance, we often have a lot of the things that cause imbalance for quite a number of people. Either you have a lot of responsibilities at work, you're trying to get a business going, you need to travel often, you have to make partnerships, you have a lot more sales to do, you have to meet your targets at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter. Sometimes it's also that you have a lot more responsibilities at home. Maybe you have a child who's terminally ill. Maybe you have you're a single parent and you need to be there for your family. Maybe you have an unwell relative. All these are things that affect us in different ways. Sometimes you're working a lot more hours. If, say for example, today we started the day at 7, if you'll be working until 7, by the time you're going home, you're completely drained. So you don't even have time to watch what it is that you enjoy watching or just relax, right? Sometimes it's also a personal mindset. And other times you get distracted by things like social media. You're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, and that distracts you. There are risks that are related to poor work-life balance. We talked of burnout, but in addition to that, we also have others such as financial loss, having a poor performance at the workplace, having a lot of unresolved conflicts within the people that you're working with, and also poor health. Poor health because you're probably not making the right decisions in your meals, you're probably not making time to exercise, You're probably not making time to go for those wellness checks that we've all been encouraged to do because you're spending too much time working. But the catch is, when you're talking about a good work-life balance, you can't have 4 hours at the office, 4 hours for pleasure, 4 hours to go to church, 4 hours to go do this, because you only have so much time. And we've already recognized that sometimes our work day is probably an 8 to 5 or a 7 to 6, depending on where you work and what you do, or even the kind of organization you run. Also, work-life balance also depends on which stage of life you're at. If you're like me, you're growing your career, you're growing your profession, you're probably looking to, do your master's, do your PhD, do a couple of things with your life. Probably for me, my work-life balance will look at a lot more work and career-oriented things. If you're a mother to a young family or recently got married, your work-life balance will probably include a lot more time with your family, with your husband, with your children, right? If you're a bit older, maybe in your 50s or 40s and 60s up there, you're probably looking at a space where you're nearing to the end of you being a professional in a professional office setting, and going into a space where you probably want to do business, you want to go into retirement, you want to move maybe out of town, away from all the craziness that is Nairobi in the metropolitan area, and you probably want to go do farming. So you'll probably want to start learning some new skill that you can work as you near 80 or 100, depending on how old you want to grow to, So work-life balance varies from one person to another. So what work-life balance is for me is not going to be the same for you. If you're not able to set limits and say, at this point, that 1 hour, those 2 hours of my weekend, that is me time. That is no social media time. That is no emails. That is no calls. Then what happens is that when you're at home, it is 10, you're still working, and you don't have time for your family, which means you'll have poor work-life balance, yeah? Make time to just have fun, time to reflect, time to go see a psychologist because you want to take care of your mental health. Not because you're unwell, but because you want to stay well. Other than the organization you run or work for, who are you? Do you really have a response? If you stopped doing what you're doing today, who are you? For example, I am a daughter. I enjoy music. I am a farmer. I have other things I do outside being a psychologist. So who are you? Do you have other things or other titles you go by other than, allow me to use your business CEO, other than being the CEO of Jubilee? If 5 years from today you are not doing what you're doing, where would you be? Who would you be? Have other things that give you an identity. Whether it's being an environmental activist, whether it's being a father, whether it's being a small business owner, whether it's being someone who enjoys playing the piano or swimming, do something other than your 8 to 5. That way, outside your work, you have other things that you enjoy doing, you have other things that give you pleasure and keep you occupied. And the benefits to work-life balance are very broad. They vary all the way from, to us as employees, having good relationships while at work, to having a lot of satisfaction with you with myself as an individual, to having a good mental health and having a good physical health and well-being. But to your organization as well, you find that there's a lot more productivity. If your staff is mentally healthy, if they have a good work balance, they come to work, they are fresh, they're energized, and they're meeting their targets. When they come to work, they don't have a very high turnover because they love what they do. They're not looking for a place where they'll work less hours, where they'll have better interactions, because they're happy and satisfied with where they are. So there's a lot more morale, and also at the end of the day, our businesses will prosper because there's teamwork and there's communication within the organization. So how do we prevent work-life? How do we prevent imbalance? The first thing we do is that we understand that there are things that are beyond our control. COVID taught us that we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when the world will completely be turned upside down. The same way even in our organizations, we don't know when there's going to be a spike or a drop in our performance. So understanding that there are things that are going to be outside our control is very important. And planning for them is also important. For example, when you're growing, sometimes you're going to find that there's a lot more time there's a lot more of you needed within the organization, right? But there's also going to come a time where there won't be as much growth, or even things will have stabilized. So you can take time off and practice leisure. So understanding that when you can control things, by all means do so and create time for yourself. But sometimes when that's not possible, then you need to be deliberate about creating that time. Take action to reduce or remove the stressors that are present. If, say, for example, what's giving you stress at this point is that you're not bringing in enough business, find a way, what can I do to deal with that so that I'm not as stressed as I was before? Break problems down into smaller manageable pieces. What exact areas do I need to address so that I'm not always stressed, so that I'm not working every single day? If it means sharing out the issues that we need to target, the challenges within the team that I have, then I do that. If I'm a person who runs a business by myself and I am the business, can I bring in people to assist me temporarily for this period that I need to grow and that I need to expand? Replace negative relationship with positive ones. Sometimes we get stressed because a lot of the people we have around us are very naysayers. You know, those ones who tell you that you can't make it, you can't achieve what you need to do. They're always negative, 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 negative. I like a space like this because everyone you meet here has had good experiences and bad experiences in business, right? If you're new to this, you'll probably meet people who are going to encourage you, who are going to mentor you, who are going to help you grow. So surround yourself with people who are like-minded. And what that does is that even if you're getting negative feedback from the environment around, you have people here who will encourage you to be and do better. Also, adapting self-care practices. We're going to go that into a bit, but I'd like to mention this one. Developing outside work activities is going to be very key, even as we talk about self-care. Sometimes we are running so much, building an empire, that we forget to slow down. Forget to call our friends and sit down and have a cup of coffee at Mom's. We forget to sit down and just take a walk to Ridire wetland. We forget that you need to slow down because we are always running. So slow down. Make time in your day to just slow down, whether it's in the beginning or at the end of the day. Take 30 minutes for self-reflection. What is my plan for the day ahead? What do I need to achieve? At the end of the day, sit down and look back. Am I happy with what I have been able to do? What am I grateful for? What have I been able to achieve? Affirm yourself, because during that time, you remind yourself that you're human and you can be able to achieve the things that you set your mind into doing. As we close down, I'd like us to quickly go into self-care, which is the #1 strategy for maintaining good mental health in the spaces that you're at. And what self-care is, it's how we take care of ourselves, promote our health, and prevent disease. And this one works whether we're talking about physical illness or even mental health. You can't pour from an empty cup. As the person who runs or sells Ivna peanuts, if you are not at 100%, you won't be able to give your customers the best, right? If you manage a staff of 10, if you aren't able to sleep well and you woke up and you're grumpy, you're probably going to go to the office and be very irritable. If someone has made a mistake, you'll probably lash out on them. True, false? Yeah? So if you're not at 100%, you also won't be able to give your business 100%, leave alone your family. So we need to take care of ourselves first, so that in the spaces that we're operating in, we're also able to give at 100%. So how do we do that? Different areas of self-care, some of which also include those that are within your circle. So just go through this. I think the one that I had missed out was emotional. In your circle, there was emotional that I hadn't pointed out. All those areas indicate the areas that we refer to as wellness areas in our lives. So I'll just give a couple of examples of what it entails to take care of our physical health in self-care. So when you talk of physical health, we're looking at making sure that you're sleeping well. It's recommended at least 6 to 8 hours. Yeah? Exercise, whether it's taking that walk or going to the gym or going for a run, making sure that you're eating healthy. Yeah? And making sure that you're eating your meals as well within the day. Healthy meals, not just junking every once in a while, you know? Making sure that you're taking care of your social health. Outside who you are at the office, you also have friends. People who you grew up with, The people who, if you are in a fix, you'd call, don't just call them when you are in a fix. Call them just to catch up and see how they're doing. Build a social support system around yourself. Not necessarily one that helps you build your business, but one that helps you build you as an individual. Those people who make you laugh, those people who you laugh with, those people who you can cry with, those people who you can talk about how hard a day you've had today, or how cold a morning it was, you know? Because outside that, outside your work, you need people, and you are a person, yeah? So take care of your mental health as well. That means doing the things that we enjoy doing. Make time to listen to some music, make time to dance, make time to play that game that you enjoy, watch that movie, engage in leisure activities. Taking care of your emotional health, allowing yourself to experience the emotions that you're feeling. Sometimes you feel sad, but as Africans, what are we told, especially if you're a man? Hangu, men do not cry. Because I talk about our mental health, allow yourself to feel hurt. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to feel sad. If you need if you need help processing those emotions, find a professional. Talk to a psychologist, talk to a psychiatrist. Take care of your mental health and your emotional health. Because if those are not in order, you won't be able to focus when you're in the office. I think all of us know how difficult it is when you've been very stressed, you've been crying, you're very emotional. You look at your laptop and you can't even decide, you can't move past the first line of an email you're reading. Or you can't even figure out what is 1 plus 10. You know, if you're in the field of doing one. So taking care of our emotions is also very key to be productive. And last but not least, taking care of your spiritual health. Whether that means going to church, reading your Bible, praying, making sure that you're joining those fellowships or those cell groups that you're part of. Spiritual health is also important. And why it's important is because outside it, we often find that we are stressed, we often find that we're going through very tough times. But when we go to God, when we go pray, when we go to the mosque, I don't know if we have any Muslims here, you let go of all the troubles that you have, and you believe that you've handed them over to someone who's a lot stronger than you, who's a lot more capable than you, and you feel less stressed. Who feels that? Sometimes I feel like that. You know. So spiritual self-care is also very key. A few activities as I wind up. As I mentioned earlier, these are just examples. But within yourself, within those areas, even as you're filling in your circle, look at what are some of the activities that I can do better that I have not already been doing. So that tomorrow, when you wake up, you're able to know, maybe today I can do something that entails my physical health. Maybe today I can do something that entails my spiritual health. Just so that you can feel like you're a whole person and you can take care of all aspects of your health that also affect your mental health. And as we wind up, I'd like all of us to remember that the only way we destigmatize mental health, whether it's in the workspace, whether it's at home, whether it's in the social gatherings that we're in, is only if we talk about it. Making it normal to talk about how stressed I'm feeling. Making it normal to say that I've been having a really difficult time. Making it normal to say that I know people go through depression. I know people who have schizophrenia, and they're okay, and they're functional, and they're prospering, and they can do better. So I'd like to encourage all of us to funguke. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about why it's important, not just to us, but also to the people around us. And I've come to the end of our conversation. On the last slide, we have the contacts on how you can reach us at Chiromo Hospital Group. One of them is our toll-free number, 0800-220-000. It's a 24-hour service which is manned by psychologists. If you need to speak to someone, if you know someone who needs to reach out to a psychologist, have a conversation, maybe even book a session with us as Chiromo Hospital Group, please feel free to reach out to us. I'll repeat the number, 0800-220-000. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for your time and being with us. The very lovely ladies and gentlemen from Gardens Restaurants are waiting to serve us some breakfast. And I think that's the next thing we're going to do now. Elder Kiongo had plans in the morning for the
entire session inclusive of the breakfast. So we can make our way as we continue networking, and yes, we're going to continue the conversation. It does not end here. And thank you very much.